Having a job is just that. It is a role, it's a function. You're the one who brings that function to life. Without you, it is literally just a task list. So, what do you do? That is one of the most commonly asked questions in almost any new conversation. And inevitably, it puts your work and your identity in the very same bucket. And if you've been known for this one thing your entire life and you're really good at it and you are thriving, then you know what? It's a really fun question to answer. But if you've left that work or you've been laid off, what do you actually say? When you're asked the question, what do you do? It's so interesting because work and identity are so intertwined for so many different reasons. One of them being that we spend most of our living day, our waking day at work. So, yeah, if we're successful at work, we feel successful as a person. And if we're not successful at work, we don't feel successful as a person. That's just normal. But today, we're going to include a couple of reminders and a couple of little activities you can do to continue to separate work and identity so that no matter what happens at work, you are still the very same rock star that you were before you had this position or before you even started your career. The reality is that who you are now, that you no longer have the title, that you were laid off, or that you've decided to make a change, right? I made a very intentional change about 3, 4 years ago and left a job that I absolutely loved. And I also left the function or the title of faculty. I just was so proud of that. I mean, I worked so hard to become a faculty and to be able to work with such amazing professionals at such a fantastic campus. And when I left that work, it was bittersweet. And I also felt like I left this really large structure with a lot of resources, great professionals, and let's be honest, students. And in my mind, it was like I had literally so many amazing clients, right? Every single day that came to me. I didn't have to, figure out like, how am I going to start this business? How am I going to make this work? So ultimately, I went from an entire structure to nothing. And I had to figure out, okay, how do you build this up, right? And you might be in a similar situation. And so, who are you now that you no longer have the title, now that you no longer are backed by the name and the resources and all, the teams, etc.? You are the very same rock star that got that role in the first place. You're the same person who had the amazing win just last month, and you're the same person who's going to look back in a year from now and realize that you had it in you the whole time. Having a job is just that. It is a role, it's a function. You're the one who brings that function to life. Without you, it is literally just a task list. It's literally just a job description. And the way you brought life to it is completely different from the way anybody else would have done it. And so that's the piece that you want to remember. It can feel, when you leave a job, it can feel like you leave your entire self at work. But I want you to visualize really quickly for me that you're leaving your office, that you brought with you a toolkit. And in your toolkit, you're going to pack your innovative mind. You're going to pack your natural efficiency. You're going to pack the 700 plus skills that you either gained or further developed in this position. You're going to put all of those pieces in your toolkit because you are not leaving them at work. Taking this toolkit with you, whether visually or you want to put this on paper or you want to have a conversation with someone, you want to do something with this information to memorialize all that you are bringing with you and that you are not leaving at that office. And taking it with you means that you bring that toolkit with you intentionally to networking conversations, to other interviews. And basically, what you're saying with confidence is, you see what I did over at company X? I can do that here, and I can do that at any other company. Would you like me to do it here? Because I can also, again, go interview at a different company and you're going to miss out on what I have to bring. That's the certainty that it wasn't the title, it wasn't the budget, and it wasn't the resources. All of those are inanimate objects. In and of themselves, they do not bring success. It was you who took all the pieces and turned them into a project, turned them into revenue, turned them into a talent pipeline, ultimately turned them into company success. And a sneaky thing is that when we're at work, and you might be in the middle of this, you might be in the middle of your success cycle, and you are like, do not rain on my parade. I'm having all the success. This is not the episode for me, right? But I do encourage you, even in your most successful moments, pay attention to that piece, that intersection between work and identity. And I say that because when we have success over and over and over again, we begin to get into a cycle of external validation. So when there is no success, now it's like, wait a second, I need that external validation. It's kind of like sugar. When you eat sugar, you want more sugar. And there's just no end to how much sugar we are going to crave, right? And so now you need this external validation. But the reality is that you don't. And so even if you're experiencing a ton of success, like literally like enjoy your success. Like literally celebrate your success. But at the same time, I want you to go back to your proudest moments, not the moments when you were recognized and not the moments when you received an award or some sort of external win. Go back to the moments where you felt so proud of yourself because you learned so much, because you persevered, because you put in the most effort. Those are the moments that are going to reward you with internal validation so that your successes can not only be cherished in the moment, but they can be sort of building this foundation for you so that when you don't feel that outward validation and that outward success, you are still very much a successful person because you've got internal validation. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of other things that you can do to continue to strengthen that internal self confidence, to continue to strengthen your identity away from work. One of those is to get back to an internal compass, meaning for years you have been moving forward one specific mission, the mission of your company. And that might be a fantastic mission. But now ask yourself, is it time for a change? What mission do I want to drive forward now? What type of impact do I want to make? You have an all new type of freedom and agency if you are between positions right now, where you can cultivate what once was, maybe attached to work because it's so easy, right? Like, trust me, I've experienced it. I think everyone in the world has experienced it. Right now, you can cultivate this separately. Where will you go? It takes time to know what to do. And with so much freedom going from structure and here's your specific, outcomes that you need to meet, and here's the work that you do, and here's the protocols, and here's the culture, and here's how we work, all of a sudden, you have total freedom. You have every option. And it takes time to know what to do with so much freedom, so much time, so many options. So take that time, enjoy the scenery, and find what truly appeals to you in this new season of life. Because so often we go to work day in, day out, and we're in the weeds every single day to where we don't ever really get a chance to step back and look at where our life has been the past several years and where we'd like it to go. And so if you are between positions, this is a great time to make decisions and recalibrate. And that includes treating yourself well. That means treating yourself with wisdom and kindness. It means giving yourself space to grieve what was lost, but also to let go of it so you can find something new. There's a there's a verse in Ecclesiastes. I think it's let me just look it up. Okay, here we go. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 10 that says, "Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions." I find it interesting that that literally has to be a verse in the Bible because I find myself sometimes asking that question. And when I do, I get this great reminder that it's not really wise. What's wise is, again, giving yourself that space to grieve what was, to celebrate the moments you had with that position or in that title, but then to let go of it because something new is on the way. It means being intentional about how to use this time, how to live in the present, because after all, how often do you have 8 hours of each and every single day of your life back? This also means remembering that all new beginnings come with the learning curve. So take this time to learn what you need to learn for your next phase, or take this time to recognize that if you are in the job search and maybe you haven't been in the job search for 5, 10, 15 plus years, things have changed. And so you probably need to do a little bit of skill building. And you know what? That's a great time. I was in school Well, we won't say how long ago, but it was a while ago. Some people were born in that decade. Let's just say that. Right. And so I think I remember when I was growing so much, developing, I was just, learning so much. Everything we did was developmental in some way, right? When you're in college, you go to, these very intensive internship programs, and then there's seminars and all these different ways to learn and grow. And it's such an exciting time. Well, take advantage of it, because if you are in between jobs, this is a time to get back into development, to get back into growing your skill set, to get back into just growing as a person. A slow and successful pivot is so much better than a fast and tragic collision. So take that time to treat yourself well, with wisdom, with kindness. Give yourself that space. And if you've already taken that space and you feel like I am ready for the next step, but I feel a little bit of hesitation and I would love to feel so totally confident, then join me in 2 weeks, because we're going to talk about how to make aligned and courageous career moves, how to get past any sort of hesitation, even that whole kind of like little bit of fear of letting go in the back of our minds. How do we move past that? We're going to talk about it in 2 weeks. So meet up with me there. And until then, know we're cheering you on, we're praying for you, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, thanks for listening. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. If you found this episode helpful, please tap the 5-star review on the show's homepage in your podcast app. It would absolutely make my day, and it helps others discover the Uncommon Career Podcast. Now, to download your free career resources and learn how I help seasoned professionals land amazing offers in as little as 90 days, click on the link in the description or go to theuncommoncareer.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.